Is the voice and the screen are clear for you?
Yes.
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 It's
Okay, thank you very much. طيب, let's remember what we did last time, and inshallah we'll continue this exercise. We'll stop at the first point we discussed last time is the meaning of absolute maximum, absolute minimum, local maximum, and local minimum. So what is absolute maximum and what is absolute minimum? We said it is a point on the curve such that f of c is greater than any other point in the, this is true for all x in the domain, okay? In this case, we say f of c is absolute maximum. Similarly, we said absolute minimum, this is less than equal to f of x for all x in the domain. So in this case, we say f of c is the highest point in the graph, and f of c is the lowest point in the graph if it is what we call absolute minimum. If this is true only for a certain interval around the point, we call it local maximum and local minimum. And we did one exercise, and this is another one. Okay, take 1 or 2 minutes to think about it and locate the absolute maximum, absolute minimum, local maximum, local minimum, and then we will solve it together. Take 2 minutes to do it.
I think we did this one.
We did not finish it yet, not yet. We did only absolute maximum minimum. Still, we have local maximum, local minimum. And there is a very interesting point. I need you to think about it first. Okay, let us now do it together and see يعني, what are the local maximum, local minimum, if there is any. خلينا نبدأ بالlocal maximum. Do we have any local maximum?
Yes.
Local
F of
maximum.
5.
Okay, what are the local maximums we have, if there is any? Okay, well, let us see. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. أحسنت. F of 5 is a local maximum. يعني it is a maximum which appear in the interior of the domain. F of 5. What else? Do we have any other local maximum?
F4.
خلينا نشوف هذه 1, 2, 3, 4.
F
This
of
is
3.
1, 2, 3, 4. This is what I mean by here 4.
Yes.
This is 4.
Yeah. Okay.
This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is at 4. Yes. Any other point here?
Yes, at 6.
What about at 5? Is there any local maximum? No. At 6, is it? Is f of 6 local maximum?
I think yes.
At 6, this
value.
one here.
There is a
Which
value.
is this one. Okay. If we take an open interval around 6, this is number 6 here. Is this one the highest point there? يعني your friend said, okay, if you cut it, it will be something like this, isn't it? This piece here and this piece here, of course. Is this one the highest point among these points? The answer is yes. And أحسنت, this is a good answer, excellent answer. At 6, we have local maximum. عفوا.
F of 1.
That's what I'm coming to now. What about f of 1? That is the interesting case we have. Is f of 1 a local maximum or local minimum? طبعا it is not local maximum. Why? Because if you come to 1 and you take an interval, this is not the highest point, isn't it? There are some points above this point. So it is not local maximum. But if we look carefully for local minimums now, what are the local minimums for the function? مين يقول لي at least one of them? خلينا نبدأ بالواضحين جدا يعني the very clear points. هذه النقطة أعتقد واضحة للجميع أن هي local minimum, isn't it?
Yes.
And this point is local minimum. طبعا this appear at what? 2 and 5, isn't it? So
Yes.
f of 2 is local minimum. F of 5 is local minimum. طيب. بعد مين يقول لي what else we have local minimum here?
At 1.
0.
at 0 is not a local minimum. Why? من يقول لي why? It's not local minimum.
It's there's
Because
It's
not
not-
till the
لأن
end
هي
point.
at the end
limit.
point.
Not
At the end point, we cannot call it local if it is at the end point, at the boundary points. الآن f of 1 is a very interesting case. هل هي فعلا local minimum؟ لاحظوا الآن f of 1 when we come around 1 close to 1 in an open interval containing 1 راح يطلع عندنا الشكل المعطى هو هذا تقريبا بالشكل هذا. This one together with this together with this point here. Now, is this point, the value at 1, is it lower than any other value in that interval? طبعا the answer is yes. The answer is yes. The value at 1 is lower than any point in this part or this portion of the graph. In that case, yes, f of 1 will be called local minimum for the function. لو كانت النقطة هنا مثلا يعني this is not there, what do you call f of 1 in that case?
local maximum.
Local maximum.
local maximum. طيب لو صارت هنا مثلا what do you call f of 1?
Absolute.
أحسنت. It is local maximum at the same time it is absolute maximum. لاحظ ال absolute maximum we said f of 4 at the same time we say local maximum is f of 4. So it could happen that a maximum which is an absolute maximum could be also what? Local maximum. Why not? It is possible. Is it possible for a local maximum to be absolute maximum the other way around? Yes, of course, if it does not appear at the endpoints. مثلا y equal to x squared شغلة زي كذا. What can you say about the number 0? I mean in the y value. The point 0, 0 has an x coordinate 0 and the y coordinate 0. So what is the minimum for this function? What is the absolute minimum for this function?
0.
The answer will
Zero.
be 0. But at the same time, this maximum is also what? Is what? Absolute minimum. This minimum, sorry, is absolute minimum. So it is a global minimum and it is at the same time relative minimum or local minimum. شو العلاقة بين الاثنين الآن؟ تكلمنا عن الابسوليوت maximum والابسوليوت minimum. Also, we talk about local maximum and local minimum. Is any absolute maximum a local maximum? واحد. Is any local maximum an absolute maximum? طبعا it could be local maximum but not what? Not absolute maximum. ممكن ما تكون أعلى نقطة يعني but it is the highest among a certain interval only. It could be absolute maximum but not local maximum. متى الكلام هذا يصير؟ مين يقول لي؟ It could be absolute maximum but not local maximum.
At the beginning or the end of the function.
أحسنت. If it appears at the end of the interval. واضح؟ الآن شو النوت هذه تقول؟ يقول every extreme is local. But the opposite is not always true. Not always true. لكن في شرط هنا provided that it does not occur at the end point. يعني لو كانت الجلوبال maximum or the global minimum appear somewhere between A and B, not at A, not at B, it will be absolute. At the same time, it will be local. But if it appears at A or at B, we don't have any implication. It will be absolute, yes, but it will not be local because it appears at the end points. طيب ممتاز جدا. شنو هدفنا الآن؟ احنا في الدروس هذه الجاية كلها 4.1 up to 4.3. Our target to find واحد absolute maximum, absolute minimum. اثنين local maximum and local minimum values. We will start this process. We are building the material. We are trying to find a mechanism to find these points. So what we will do at the first stage, we will try to locate the extreme values and local values if we can graph the function. If we can sketch the graph of the function, we will ask ourselves, can you find it from the graph? That is the first point we need to do. And then we will observe some properties. Then we will have a test to find out these points or a strategy to find out these points. In 4.1, we will only answer the first question, how to find the absolute maximum, absolute minimum, and when can we guarantee the existence of these points. So let us come to the first stage in the material. How to find absolute maximum, absolute minimum, local maximum, local minimum if we can graph the function. So for example, here we have part of a line, 3 minus 2x. But we have a restricted domain, x less than or equal to 5. The question says, graph it. And from the graph, try to find local values, extreme values, if any, if there is any. طيب كيف نرسم هذه القطعة المستقيمة أو نصف المستقيم هذا؟ I will substitute with points. يعني if I substitute, for example, with x equal to 0, I will have y equal to 3 somewhere here. Okay. If I substitute x equal to 5, for example, x equal to 5 will give me 3 minus 10, minus 7, somewhere downstairs here. This is the point, somewhere here, let us say. Tamam? And the graph is like what? A straight line, decreasing line. The slope is negative. So I will join these 2 points, this point and that point, with a straight line. Okay, something like this, if you like. It will continue, of course, it will continue like this. Tamam? So this is, let us say, the base of the line we have. So this point is what? This point is what? How much is 5 and minus 7, isn't it? And this point is 0 and 3. Of course, the line is defined like this. It is piece of the line. And this point here is closed. Why closed? Because we have equality. We have equality for x equal to 5. السؤال الآن, we have the graph in front of us. The question is, do we have absolute maximum? مين يجاوب السؤال?
No.
Why
No.
no? Why no absolute maximum?
At infinity increase.
So
Function is always
Because
increasing.
accent, the function will grow up to infinity.
Infinity.
So any number you give me, we cannot say infinity is a maximum. Infinity is not a number. In the real line, we have an open interval. Infinity is not. Infinity is a meaning. But it means whatever you give me as a number, I can find a number which is greater than it and inside the range of the function. So there is no maximum. It is going to infinity. It expands without any bound. طيب, what about absolute minimum? Do we have absolute minimum? What is it equal to?
F of 5
F of 5
اللي هي كم تساوي يعني f of 5?
minus 7.
minus
Minus
7.
أحسنت, f of 5 which is equal to minus 7. إذا حتسألني what is the minimum أقول له minus 7. لو سألني when it occur أقول له at x equal to 5. تظهر عند الخمسة لكن هي قيمتها تساوي شنو؟ minus 7. طيب, do we have any local values?
No.
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 No local values. We have no local values. Yes, we have a minimum, but this appears at the end of the interval, so we do not call it local values. جميل جدا. طيب خلينا نيجي لل e to the power x. نيجي لل e to the power x. Do we have any local values or extreme values of this, what we call the exponential function? Okay,
No.
let's try to sketch the graph of this function here. Okay. Take it a little bit up. The exponential function, you know the exponential function. This is the first lesson you studied before coronavirus in Math 002. We have an exponential function here, which is increasing like this. It is increasing like this. E to the power x. Y equal to e to the power x. جميل جدا. الآن السؤال. Do we have an absolute maximum or absolute minimum? Absolute maximum, do we have any?
No.
No.
No. طيب, absolute minimum.
We don't
No.
also.
Oh, no.
No.
What about the number 0? Isn't it a minimum value for this?
No.
No.
It's approaching
There
0.
is no 0.
أحسنت, because 0 is not included in the range. The range is 0 to infinity. صحيح? So it's greater than 0. قلنا أمس يعني in mathematics we call this number 0 the infimum of the function. It is not a minimum, but it is infimum. So we have no extreme values, no maximum, no minimum. جميل جدا. What about local values?
No local values.
No local values also. There is no local maximum, no local minimum. So we have neither extreme values nor local values. جميل جدا. لاحظوا هذه الدالة الآن ال e to the x. Isn't it continuous function? Isn't it continuous function?
Yes, it is continuous.
Yes, continuous. سؤال الآن لو جينا الآن إلى continuous function هذه e to the x وحددنا الدومين حقها we restricted the domain. قلنا والله الاكس هذه خليها مثلا بين الناقص 1 فقط والثلاثة مثلا. So I'm cutting it somewhere here. I will cut it somewhere here. السؤال do we have a maximum and minimum in this new case?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
احنا شنو اضفنا الان؟ شنو اضفنا مع الكونتينيوتي؟ اضفنا مع الكونتينيوتي a closed. طيب خلينا اساس بس نستنتجها في النهايه او not say it. طيب لو كانت greater than minus 1 less than or equal to 3 يعني هذه صارت open. Do we have a maximum here? A absolute maximum, absolute minimum?
Only an absolute maximum.
Oh, no,
Only absolute maximum. So we lose the absolute what? We lose the absolute minimum. صحيح? I will just try to erase these dots I make in the graph. طيب ممتاز. طيب الآن we will take a very nice theorem, and this theorem is called the extreme value theorem. It will give you a requirements in the function, two conditions in the function. Whenever these two conditions are available, then for sure the function will have a maximum and will have a minimum. Okay, let us see this. I hope it is direct. Yes, this is called the very nice theorem called the extreme value problem. يعني السؤال, when do we have a maximum? When do we have a minimum? When it will be guaranteed to have a maximum and minimum. النظرية تقول لاحظوا بالشكل التالي. Very important theorem in mathematics. It says if you have a continuous function, يعني أول شرط شنو؟ Continuous function and a closed interval. شرطين صارت شنو؟ Continuity, closeness. Continuity of the function, closeness of the interval given. شرطين. النتيجة شنو هو الآن؟ يقول then if attains يعني تحصل على absolute maximum value and absolute minimum value of d for some values a c and d in between what in between a and b. يعني عشان نضمن وجود الماكسيمم والمينيمم نحتاج شرطين. الشرط الأول the function must be continuous. طيب الشرط الثاني the interval must be closed. طيب خلينا نناقش بعض الحالات الآن. What happened if we lose some of these conditions? لما نفقد بعض الشروط هل معناها ان there is no maximum, there is no minimum, او والله بنتحصل على الماكسيموم والمينيمم؟ راح نشوف. Okay, I will first lose the continuity. راح اخلي الداله not continuous، يعني راح اخذ closed interval من هنا ومن هنا وراح اخلي الداله زي كذا. Do we have absolute maximum here?
No.
No.
شوف no, we don't have. مع ان الفتره مغلقه من الواحد الى الثلاثه. It's closed interval from 1 to 3. This is a closed interval. لكن we don't have maximum. No maximum. Why we lose the maximum? The function
Continuity.
is not continuous. We lose the continuity, so we lose the maximum. طيب, okay, it is continuous. لكن I have an open interval from 1 to 3. Do we have a maximum and minimum?
Maximum, but no minimum.
Yeah, we have maximum, but we don't have minimum. يعني we lose the conclusion also. طيب, لكن we should be careful here. هل معنى النظرية? Does it mean the theorem? Does it mean that if we lose the conditions, there is no maximum, there is no minimum? هل النظرية قالت كده؟ خلينا نشوف مثال. Okay, this function here is not continuous. لاحظوا, it is coming this way up to here. تمام? And then it will come from this point here up to here. The function is not continuous, isn't it? Do we have a maximum and minimum?
Yes.
شوف النظرية صارت اتجاه واحد. دائما كن دقيقين جدا في الماث. If then أداة شرط ها. If this one satisfied, this conclusion will be achieved. العكس مو بالضرورة صحيح. مو بالضرورة صحيح. ممكن يكون صحيح لكن مش بالضرورة صحيح. The opposite is not necessarily what? It not necessarily achieved. طيب الآن if we don't have a maximum, if we don't have a minimum or maximum, can we say the function will not be continuous or the interval will not be closed or not?
مو شرط. هي مو شرط.
خلنا اوضحها لكم بطريقه ثانيه. احنا كنا نقول سابقا ان الديفرنشيبيليتي implies what? continuity. صحيح؟ صح؟
Yes.
الداله differentiable فهي continuous عند النقطه. اذا كانت الداله continuous مش بالضروره differentiable. صحيح؟ لكن if the function is not continuous for sure it is what? Not differentiable. صحيح؟ الان عندنا closeness closed plus continuity اذا اتحدوا مع بعض يؤدي الى شنو؟ maximum and what?
Minimum.
minimum. طيب اذا فقدنا واحده من الثنتين هذه النيجيشن حق الاند or يعني if there is no maximum or there is no minimum for sure we will lose one of these, isn't it? اذا
Yes.
ما عندنا maximum ما عندنا minimum for sure the function will not be continuous or the interval will not be what? closed. وضحت الصوره الان؟ هاي تسمى الاكستريم فاليو ثيورم. طبعا ما راح نركز كثير على الستيتمنت، راح نركز كثير على تطبيقاته في المستقبل القريب. Okay.
Sure.
Yes, please.
What if we had a horizontal line? Would that defy the theorem?
If we have a horizontal line, every point in the horizontal line is considered to be a maximum. At the same time, it is a minimum. That is the only case where all points considered to be maximum and all points are minimum. Yes, Ahsan. This is a very special case, horizontal line. Every point is greater than or equal to other points, and every y value is less than or equal to or other values because they are all equal. In that case, everything is maximum, everything is minimum. I mean, every value in the range is a maximum, considered to be maximum and minimum. That is the special case. لاحظنا النظرية شو تقول الآن؟ لاحظوا الجرافس الموجودة أمامنا الآن. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. We have nice functions, continuous, everything is fine. At the end of the day, always we have a maximum, we have a minimum. مثلا النقطة هذه هنا maximum، النقطة هذه minimum، النقطة هذه maximum، النقطة هذه minimum. ممكن تظهر المينيمم عند الأطراف، ممكن تظهر المينيمم شنو؟ In between A and B. Doesn't make a difference. Here we have an absolute minimum and we have absolute maximum. Maybe it appears 2 times, but still we have absolute maximum, which are actually at the same time local maximum. هذه النظرية اللي تسمى extreme value theorem. طيب هذه النوتس اللي أنا كتبتها أو ذكرناها قبل شوية. Note that the extreme value theorem requires 2 conditions. لازم تتحقق شرطين. شنو الشرطين هذه؟ F must be continuous. 1. 2. The interval must be closed. يسموها continuity and closeness. Continuity and closeness of the interval. If we miss one of these conditions, لاحظوا الستيتمنت يا شباب، ابغاك تقرا بدقه شوي. If we miss one of these conditions, then the extreme values ما قلنا will not be attained. لاحظتوا؟ ما قلنا will not be attained، قلنا شنو؟ may not be attained. يعني ممكن نعم وممكن شنو؟ لا. إذا فقدنا إحدى الشروط ممكن نحقق، ممكن نحصل على الماكسيموم، ممكن نحصل على المينيموم، ممكن نحصل على اثنينهم، بس مش بالضرورة. مش بالضرورة. It is not always true. وهذا مثال يبين هذا. The function has minimum value f of 2 which is equal to 0 but there is no maximum value. شو السبب؟ السبب هنا شنو؟ f is not what? Not continuous. It is not continuous. It is not continuous. ولهذا فقدنا. لكن قلنا شنو؟ مش بالضرورة. يلا خلينا نغير عليه تعديل بسيط جدا. راح أخلي هذه مغلقة وأخلي هذه مفتوحة. Do we have a maximum here?
Yes.
Yes.
يعني مش بالضرورة إذا كانت not continuous يعني there is no maximum. لكن ما نضمن وجود الماكسيمم. ما نضمن وجود الماكسيمم. Okay. What about if we lose the closeness? مثلا هذه الفترة 0 إلى 2 مفتوحة الآن. Do we have a maximum and minimum here?
No, neither.
No maximum, no minimum. Why?
Open interval. And
The interval is not closed. Is not closed. It is not closed. صحيح الدالة continuous. لكن the interval is not closed. ولهذا فقدنا النظرية أو فقدنا نتيجة النظرية اللي هي وجود اللوكال absolute maximum absolute minimum. فالاكستريم فاليو ثيورم من اسمها اكستريم فاليو، ما تكلمت عن اللوكال، تكلمت عن شنو؟ تكلمت عن الاكستريم اونلي، تكلمت عن شنو؟ the absolute maximum absolute minimum. It says nothing about local maximum local minimum. It says only some words about absolute maximum absolute minimum. يلا نرجع مرة ثانية إلى الاكسرسايز. If I can sketch the graph, can I find the local values and absolute value? ناخذ مثال آخر الآن. 1 plus 1 plus x squared بين الماينس 2 وال 5. يلا تذكروني فيها. 1 plus 1 plus x. I will sketch it here. 1 plus, what is it? Can you remember? I am old enough to forget, but I guess it is 1 plus 1 plus x.
1 plus x
all squared and x between minus 2 and 5, something like this. جميل. نتأكد. يا ممتاز. يلا خلونا نرسم وبعد كده نحاول نوجد الإجابة من الرسم. So let us sketch the graph. Okay, I will try to sketch the graph of this and try to find the answer. Okay. I'd like to make it short, a little bit small so I can sketch and read from it. طيب يا شباب الآن how to sketch the graph of this? It is a parabola, isn't it? What is the vertex of the parabola? من يقول لي؟
minus 1 and 1.
minus 1 and 1. أحسنت. minus 1 and 1. This is minus 1 and 1 somewhere here. If I substituted minus and 2, of course it will give me minus 1. طيب if I substitute minus 2 here, what do we get?
2.
Minus 2 plus 1 is 1. 1 square is 1 plus 1 is 2. أحسنت. So the answer will be 2 here. And this is closed because we have equality, isn't it? طيب at 0 it's equal to what? At 0 also it's equal to 2, somewhere here. صحيح? And then I have the graph is a parabola like this. It's coming the vertex and come increasing. It will increase. At 5, let us say at 5, يعني there is no enough space to graph it. Let us assume this point somewhere here is at the point at 5. What is the value at 5? 5 plus 1 is 6. Square it, that will be 37. جميل جدا. الآن السؤال. This point is, as we said, minus 2 and 2. السؤال, do we have absolute maximum?
No.
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 No absolute maximum. No absolute maximum. طيب, do we have absolute minimum?
Yes.
What is it?
Minus 1.
minus
It is
1.
1.
minus 1. شوف هذا خطأ كبير جدا في الاختبار خصوصا في المالتيبل تشويس. ضيع عليك سؤال. المينيمم تظهر عند الماينس 1 بس قيمتها كم تساوي؟ هي f of minus 1. هي f of minus 1 اللي هي تساوي شنو؟ 1. طيب, do we have local maximum?
Yes.
Yes.
What is it? Local maximum?
2.
2.
2 is a local maximum, or minus 2 you mean?
2 is a local
2.
maximum.
What is 2?
f of minus
Or
Two-
the beginning of the function. No.
You mean this one here? Is
Yes.
this one local?
Yes.
No, no.
معقولة يعني؟
no,
No,
it
no.
can't be on the line.
Inside the interval.
قلنا ما تظهر
it's not
اللوكال
a
عند
local.
it is not appearing at what? It's not appearing at the endpoints. So we have no local maximum. طيب, what about local minimum? Do we have any local minimum here?
No. Only the
At f minus 1.
أحسنت. local minimum is f of minus 1. f of minus 1. لاحظ هي المينيمم مش minus 1 مش ال f of minus 1 اللي هي الواحد. هي تظهر inside the interval, isn't it? In between minus 2 and 5, isn't it? So we said any absolute is also local. This is equal to 1 is also local minimum. هي فعلا absolute minimum. لكن بما أنها تظهر بين الناقص 2 و5 inside the interval, in the interior of the interval, so of course it will be also local minimum. Okay, fine. خلونا بس نطلع على النظرية السابقة الآن. We don't have local maximum. We don't have absolute maximum. We lose one of the extreme values. شو السبب طيب؟ النظريه تقول ماكسيمم مينيمم. شو اللي فقدناه في النظريه هنا؟ ولهذا ادى ان نفقد ايضا الماكسيمم. What is lost here?
Closed interval.
It's not closed from both sides.
أحسنت, because we do not have closed interval. We do not have a closed interval. So there is no guarantee. There is no guarantee that we have absolute maximum and absolute minimum. We achieved absolute minimum, but unfortunately we lose the absolute maximum. طيب هذا سؤال آخر. هذا السؤال يقول sketch the graph also and try to see if you can find out the absolute maximum, absolute minimum. Local maximum, local minimum. يلا نرسم هذه مع بعض and we will try to find the answer from the graph of this expression here. We need to graph this function and then we'll try to find out what the local values and extreme values. نجي بين الصفر والاثنين. هذا الصفر والاثنين. This is 1 and this is 2, let us say. And okay, let me make it a little bit larger because I have enough space. So sorry for this. I will. Okay, let us assume this is 1, this is 2, and this is a 3. طيب 1 minus x between 0 and 2. At 0, this is equal to what? It's equal to 1, isn't it? So this is 0 and 1. At 2, this is at 1, of course, it will be 0. صحيح? At 2, it will be minus 1, somewhere here, minus 1. And I need to join this with a straight line passing through these points. So I will try to do it like this. Okay, interesting here. So this is the piece of the line or the line segment joining these 2 points. طيب الآن, what happened at 2? Is this one open or closed? I need to make this one open. There's supposed to be a point called 2 and minus 1, but actually this is not part of the graph. This is not part of the graph. What about 2 to 3? When we substitute 2 here, it will be 4 minus 4, that is 0. So I will make it closed at 2 and 0. At 3, it will be 2 times 3, that is 6 minus 4, which is equal to 2. So there is a point here, there is a point here called 3 and 2. I need to join again these 2 with a piece of a line, so I will do it like this. Okay, come here please. ممتاز جدا. السؤال الآن, السؤال هو التالي. Do we have absolute maximum? Do we have absolute maximum? لاحظوا.
Yes.
Yes.
What is it?
Yes.
2.
2.
أيوة, راح نكتبها f of 3 اللي هي شنو؟ اللي هي 2. ممتاز. Do we have absolute minimum?
No.
خلاص هنا نقول there is no absolute minimum. No absolute minimum. مباشرة لازم أفكر. أقول فعلا one of these 2 conditions must be lost. يعني أنا مضيع شغلة. لازم مضيع شغلة. إما مضيع الكلوزنس إما مضيع شنو؟ الكونتينيوتي. Which one I lost here?
Continuity.
The continuity. The function is not continuous in the closed interval 0, 3. It is actually not continuous at 2. More specifically, it has a jump discontinuity at x equal to 2. So this leads to the conclusion that we do not have a maximum. As we said, we may lose the conclusion. We may lose the conclusion. We have no absolute minimum. لكن لو عكسنا وضعنا الايكواليتي هنا وشلناها من هنا بيطلع عندي شنو؟ absolute minimum اللي هو minus 1. You get the point?
Yes.
واضح يا شباب؟ قلنا ممكن نفقد إذا فقدنا إحدى الشروط، مش بالضرورة، لكن ممكن نفقد شنو؟ بعض الأشياء. طيب do we have local values? Do we have local maximum, local minimum? No local values. No local values. قلنا مرة ثانية اللي على الأطراف ما نعتبرها local. أوكي؟ والنقطة هذه 2 and minus 1 we don't have. لكن لو غيرت لك في الاختبار تغيير بسيط وقلت لك هنا 0 less than equal to x less than equal to 2 2 less than x less than 3 شو اللي راح يتغير يا شباب في الحل؟ نفس السؤال، أجيب لك نفس السؤال أغير لك تغيير بسيط جدا. What will happen to the answers؟ خلينا المساواة على الاثنين في الفترة الأولى. ها؟ شو صار؟ شو اللي يصير؟
No
Do we have
absolute
absolute
maximum.
minimum? Do we have absolute minimum in this case؟
Yes.
يعني هذه بتصير مفتوحة وهذه بتصير مغلقة بالشكل هذا. Do we have absolute minimum? The answer is yes. Do we
and
have local values?
local minimum.
No.
أحسنت. There will be local minimum لأن هي فعلا absolute minimum في نفس الوقت هي شنو؟ local
minimum.
جميل جدا جميل جدا. الآن I have another exercise here from the book. Says sketch the graph of a function. طيب شو خواص الدالة هذه؟ يقول it is continuous between 1 and 5 and has the given properties. Has the given properties. شنو البروبرتيز هذه؟ قال it has absolute maximum at 5, absolute minimum at 2, local maximum at 3, and local minimum at 2. Okay, let us try to sketch a graph satisfying this. We have many graphs satisfying. We need one of them only. We need one of these graphs to find the answer. Okay, let us do it this way. جميل. الآن this is the XY coordinate we have. So this is the X axis. This is the Y axis. This is XY. نحاول نرسم دالة تحقق الشروط التالية هذه. ايش معنى؟ الآن نرجع نشوف. What does it mean absolute maximum at 5? It means at 5 we have the highest point must appear at 5, isn't it? So that is the meaning of absolute maximum at 5. Absolute minimum at 2. خلينا نحدد النقاط هذه. ادي 1 2 3 4 5 مثلا. We need the highest point to be at 5. Well, let us say somewhere here. يعني هو ما حدد القيمة. قال it is the highest point. And the absolute minimum at 2. Okay. Local maximum at 3. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. يلا خلونا absolute maximum at 5, absolute minimum at 2, local maximum at 3, and local minimum at 2. يلا لو جينا هنا مثلا بدأنا بالنقطة هذه كمثال عند الواحد. At 2 what do we have local minimum at 2. يعني شو لازم يصير عند الاثنين. We may have something like this, isn't it?
Yes.
صحيح؟ طيب هذا وين يصير؟ يعني لو واحد جاء هنا ونزل للأسفل صحيح أو غلط كذا؟ يعني he make the turning point at 2 exactly here like this كذا مثلا صح ولا خطأ هذه؟
صح.
صحيح ما في أي مشكلة أبدا ما في أي مشكلة. It's up to you where to put that graph. It is up to you where to put that graph. Okay, sorry. I just rewrite what I have missed here. Okay, this is the line. So I start at 1. We said we will start at 1 to be somewhere here. Then at 2, I can also come to 2 like this. I can also touch the 2, no problem. It's the only point I care about that. At 2, we have what? We have local. Did he say at 2 we have local minimum? Absolute minimum, he said at 2,
minimum,
not
yes.
local. So we need to be careful. This point must be the lowest point in the graph. We do not need to exceed it downstairs. طيب what happened at 3? هو قال local maximum at 3. يعني لازم نجي كده وشو نعمل الآن؟ Turn out like this صحيح؟ بس we should be careful. We do not need to go beyond the point we choose for the 2 because the 2 is what? Is the absolute minimum. خلاص انتهينا الآن حققنا شرطين. It has a local maximum at 3. It has absolute minimum at 2. At the same time, it is local minimum at 2. طيب local minimum at 2 and 4 قال local minimum at 2 and 4. يعني لما نجي إلى 4 الآن we need to have a local minimum also. لكن we should be careful what؟ هذه النقطة ما لازم تكون أيوة أحسنت. It cannot be below the value of 2. It cannot f of 4 must be greater than f of 2. واحد يقول طيب على أساس إحنا لا نزنق نفسنا كده ليش ما جينا كده مثلا إلى ال 2 وخلاص يعني مع السلامة something like this. So we are sure now f of 4 is less than f of 2 because f of 2 will be equal to 0. Then I need to go up to 5. Let us say here 5 is here. Okay, so in this case, this is the point. This is a point here. This is at 2, this is at 3, and that is at 4. This way, we are satisfying what? We are satisfying all conditions. في أشكال ثانية؟ نعم, there are many graphs satisfying the conditions, but this is one of them. الآن خطوة إلى الأمام. لحد الآن يا شباب اللي تعلمناه هو if we can sketch the graph, then we can find local values, extreme values. إذا عندنا معلومة إن the function is continuous and the interval is closed, we will be sure that absolute maximum will be achieved and absolute minimum will be achieved. الآن خطوة جديدة. النظرية هذه أيضا مهمة، تقول فيرماس ثيورم. تقول شنو هو؟ الآن أنت تبحث عن اللوكال ماكسيمم صحيح؟ واللوكال مينيمم. I cannot tell you where there are, but I can tell you something that will help. If the function f has a local maximum or minimum at c, and لاحظوا هذه جملة مهمة جدا، and f prime of c exists, يعني the derivatives there, the function is differentiable, then for sure the derivative there will be what? The derivative there will be zero. كأن النظرية تقول احنا نتوقع الماكسيمم والمينيمم وين يظهروا يا شباب؟ يظهروا وين؟ لما يكون عندي شنو؟ horizontal tangent. احسنت، يعني the derivative is equal to what? Zero. كأن النظرية تقول شنو؟ If you need to search for the local maximum, local minimum, just go and search where the derivative is zero. If the derivative is zero, you may have local maximum, local minimum. لأن النقاط هذه تظهر إذا كان the derivative exists، فأكيد الديريفاتيف لازم يساوي زيرو. لكن we should be very careful with the theorem. مرة ثانية، هاي نظرية فقط if statement. لاحظتوا if فقط، if then. إذا الشروط تحققت تحقق النظرية، ما تحقق الشرط مش بالضرورة النظرية شنو تتحقق. طيب السؤال الآن، النظرية تقول if we have local maximum والديريفاتيف موجود فالديريفاتيف زيرو. طيب إذا كان الديريفاتيف زيرو، هل بالضرورة يكون عندي local maximum local minimum؟ may or may not. لاحظوا مثلا كمثال، أعطيك مثال هنا. Maybe I wrote it as a second remark لكن no problem. لو أخذنا الواي يساوي x cubed، شايفين الواي equal to x cubed هي شغلة زي كده جاية، صحيح؟ من يقول لي what is the derivative of this function? What is y prime?
1/3
3x squared. 3x squared. طيب الديريفاتيف عند الزيرو كم يساوي؟
Zero.
هل الزيرو هذه local maximum؟
No.
local minimum؟
No.
معناتها إذا صار الديريفاتيف زيرو مش بالضرورة يطلع عندي local maximum local minimum. هذه نقطة واحدة. النقطة الثانية، هل النظرية تقول إن اللوكال ماكسيمم واللوكال مينيمم occur only if the derivative is zero؟ ما قالت if we have local maximum والدerivative موجود the derivative is equal to what? Zero. But it does not say that these local values will appear only if the derivative exists. كمثال خلونا نطلع على الابسولوت value function. الابسولوت value function is it differentiable at zero? Is it?
No.
No, it has a corner at zero. طيب do we have local minimum at zero? Yes. يعني ما في تناقض مع النظرية. صحيح احنا فقدنا شرط النظرية ان الديريفاتيف does not exist، بس النظرية ما قالت إذا كان الديريفاتيف does not exist معناتها there is no local maximum local minimum. قالت إذا كان الديريفاتيف exist وعدنا local maximum فالديريفاتيف راح يكون زيرو فقط. If the derivative does not exist, we don't know. Maybe it is a local maximum, local minimum. جميل. النقطة الثانية about the theorem I already mentioned it. اللي هي هذه. إن if the derivative is zero, we may not have local maximum, local minimum. وأخذنا مثال اللي هو x cubed. X cubed is a function whose derivative, this is xy, and this is y equal to x cubed. F prime at zero, لاحظوا f prime at zero is equal to zero, but f has neither local maximum nor local minimum at zero. فما يتناقض مع النظرية، هذا ما يتناقض مع النظرية. جميل جدا. طيب من الرسمات اللي الآن رسمناها، من الرسمات اللي رسمناها الابسولوت فاليو والاشياء البقيه، انتم تتوقعوا متى ظهرت الماكسيموم والمينيموم، اللوكال ماكسيموم واللوكال مينيموم؟ متى؟ ظهرت في حالتين. One case if the derivative is zero. صحيح؟ If the derivative is zero لاحظنا تظهر الماكسيموم والمينيموم، شغله زي كده يعني. أو زي كده. هذه واحدة. والشغلة الثانية if the derivative does not exist. يعني شلون the derivative does not exist؟ يعني مثلا تجينا شغلة زي كده، هذه دالة مثلا تجي زي كده خط مستقيم هنا وخط مستقيم كده. طبعا the function is not differentiable at C here. لكن at C we have local minimum. فلاحظنا ان الماكسيمم local maximum والlocal minimum appear at two different kind of points. The first one if the function has a horizontal tangent at that point or the function is not differentiable at that point. لكن النقاط هذه لازم تكون شنو؟ inside the domain of the function. هذا بالضبط يعرفوها الآن، يسموها هذه النقاط يسموها بالعربي يسموها نقاط حرجة. In English they call them critical numbers. شنو يعني critical number؟ هذا من التعاريف المهمة جدا اللي لازم في الاختبار النهائي راح يسألوكم عنه. ايش معنى critical number؟ نقرأ مع بعض. يقول a critical number of a function f is a number c. وين هذا النمبر؟ يقول inside the domain. Be careful. الخدع دائما تكون على النقطة هذه. c should be inside the domain. Not should be. Must be inside the domain of the function. بعد and either يعني واحدة من الثنتين تتحقق. إما the derivative is equal to 0 أو the derivative شنو؟ does not exist. يعني لازم يحقق خاصيتين. الخاصية الأولى إنه هو inside the domain. الخاصية الثانية إن الديريفيتيف حقه إما راح يكون 0 or it will be does not exist. جميل جدا. يلا ننهي هذه المحاضرة بالسؤال التالي وراح نكمل إن شاء الله على هذه النقطة. Find all critical numbers of the function given. أبحث عن شنو أنا أول أوجد الديريفيتيف صحيح؟ f prime of x. What is f prime of x? 3x squared plus what? 2x minus 1. واضح ان هذه الدالة اللي هي اسمها f prime always defined. نبحث عن شنو يعني. I need to make it now. f prime of x equal to 0 implies that 3x. خلينا نحلل هذه العوامل. 3x squared هي 3x times x minus 1 is 1 times minus 1. So it will be 3x minus 1 times x plus 1 is equal to 0. جميل. وبالتالي what will be the conclusion now? X will be equal to 1/3 or x is equal to what? minus 1. الآن يا شباب نتأكد هل ال 1/3 inside the domain of the function?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Yes, of course it is polynomial.
Real numbers.
And is x equal to minus 1 inside the domain of the function? Yes. So what are the critical numbers of the function? 1/3 and minus 1. طيب يجي واحد يقول لي يا دكتور انت قبل شويه قلت شرطين ان ال f prime equal to 0 وال f prime does not exist. اشوفك ignore this one. I did not ignore it, but actually I observed that the derivative always exists. فما راح يعطيني شيء جديد يعني. f prime does not exist. ما عندي كل النقاط تكون الديريفيتيف موجوده عندها صحيح. So how many critical number we have? 2 critical numbers. عاده صيغه السؤال في الفاينل اكزام بالشكل التالي. يقول لك the number of critical values of this function is ويعطيك مثلا 2 3 4 1 وهكذا. Okay, so the critical values for this function or critical numbers of this function are two values x equal to 1/3 and x equal to minus 1. إن شاء الله المحاضرة الجاية راح نكمل على نفس هو المسائل هذه how to find critical numbers first. بعد كده راح أتكلم عن طريقة لإيجاد ال absolute maximum absolute minimum. I will tell you 100% وأنا مسؤول على الكلام هذا 100% you will have a question about this theorem اللي راح نناقشها غدا إن شاء الله. النظرية هذه تقول إذا كان عندي absolute maximum absolute minimum sorry if we have closed interval and continuous function we have absolute maximum and minimum. هذه النظرية اللي قلناها قبل شوية اللي هي extreme value theorem. هذه الطريقة الآن راح توضح لنا الآن. طيب احنا عرفنا أنهم موجودين. طيب شلون وجودهم يعني؟ How to find these answers? How to find the absolute maximum absolute minimum? We will do it إن شاء الله tomorrow and we'll solve exercises how to find absolute maximum and absolute minimum if we have a continuous function over a closed interval. And as I said, 100%, not 99.9, no, 100%, I am writing it here, and you can keep recording this. 100%, you will have a question in the final says the absolute maximum and the absolute minimum of this function given over the interval over the interval given are respectively equal to. والله راح يقول لك والله المينيمم يسويها m والماكسيمم capital M, find the sum of m plus m or whatever, something like this. هذا ان شاء الله راح نناقشه غدا ان شاء الله. I will ask you kindly to write for me number 5 now to take your attendance in the chat. And once you write 5, you can leave if you want. مرة ثانية أنادي على عبد الرحمن الماثاني if he is available. He can stay with me after the class if he is available. طيب, so that's it inshallah for today. I will inshallah meet you tomorrow to discuss what I have said in a minute.